allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, review and approve the agenda. I have one item to add, the Evelyn Peterson Fund report that's on the table here. So, anything else? Changes or additions? Motion to approve, please.
Motion to approve of the addition of Evelyn Peterson Fund.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, tree removal bid opening. Get that one. Trees Incorporated. And looks like their total is $6,630. And Doan's Tree Service out of Poultney. $8,000. And those are the only two bids we have. So motion to
I'll make a motion to move that we go with Trees Incorporated for $6,630.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good, we'll get those. There's the,
Stan, we'll put a completion date on that.
Excuse me?
We'll put a completion date on that.
There's no specific completion date,
no,
but they usually come in and do it.
Yeah, let's put something down there. I'm giving enough time, but
Yeah.
put something down.
It's interesting, the budget is 6,000
yeah,
for tree removal.
yeah, so, good, so.
And when you come up with that, can you tell us when that deadline would be, please?
Yeah,
Well,
Thank you.
and let's see, we have two meetings to approve, the minutes, October 14th, regular. And any additions, corrections for the October 14th?
Move to approve the minutes as written.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And the October 22nd special meeting? Any additions, corrections?
You said the agenda says October 23rd.
Thank you.
See?
Huh? Oh,
So I
Excuse
just
me.
want to make sure it's,
yeah,
sure I can't remember the date, which date it was.
yes, so, no.
Was it 22nd?
Yes,
It was a Tuesday, so it
22nd,
had to have been.
yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
22nd, thank you. Yes. All right. Okay. We go into public comment, and if anybody would like to speak, please use the podium. So, Peter Welch?
Just here as a guest observing.
Sure. Mr. Meub, I understand
He's on the agenda.
Yeah,
he's on the agenda. Steve, I guess everyone else is on the agenda, so, thank you. So, with no public comment, we're going to guests. Mr. Casella.
Good evening.
Good evening, too.
Hi, Stan. How are you? So I'm here to speak to you guys about abating our water and sewer charges for 2019 on the property that we purchased at the end of last year at 39 Main Street. So we were assessed a water charge for 7 units, and the building is not currently operational, so the water is turned off in the building and has been turned off all year. So the charge of $6,440 we're hoping to have abated, and are also asking for consideration of reduction of the units to 0 until the building is redeveloped.
Do you have a deadline for that? Like, how soon are you thinking of being in there?
Good question. At this point, we don't really have a deadline or really even a tentative plan. We're hoping to redevelop the property, but some of the things that have been going on in the area with CBD and all these other projects, our initial feeling was the lab space would be difficult to utilize, and with some of the things going on there, we thought that there might be an opportunity to utilize this lab space for that or other activity, but at this point it doesn't appear that that is really a viable option or something that we're going to consider. So I think redevelopment would be a function of potentially residential / mixed use commercial, but we don't have a real solid plan to even talk about today. Stan and I had talked. He had said that he thought 1 unit is a lot more reasonable ask than 0. The reason I asked for 0 was just that we're not using it, and so that's why I said 0.
Yeah.
We certainly don't have a problem with 1 unit and supporting the ability to tie in and recognizing the fact that there is water available to us. So we would certainly consider that as well, even though it doesn't state that in the letter that I wrote.
Any other questions for John?
No, good.
Yeah.
1 unit would be having it available to you. Certainly save you a lot of money with Act 250 with sewer and water available.
Understood.
Yeah.
Once Stan mentioned that to me, I thought
Yeah.
that was totally
Yeah.
reasonable and made sense.
Would someone want to make a motion to adjust it to 1 then?
I'll make a motion.
We
Adjusting
can,
it to 1.
for a year,
Yeah, and do it on a yearly basis. We'll
that's what
You
we
know,
did with.
have a request maybe next year, and
Yeah.
we'll see what's going on, and hopefully you'll have some.
Our intention is not to not to continue to pay taxes and
No.
the other things on it, so
Sure.
we ultimately want to develop the property or, find somebody to, so it's totally reasonable to do it for a year and come back and talk next year, hopefully, about increasing it.
Sure. Well, hopefully you'll have somebody in there and a plan.
That'd be a beautiful thing.
Yes, I'm sure it would. So,
I'll second the motion.
That would be to abate
yes,
6 units
yes,
Yeah.
For 1 year.
For 1 year.
yep.
for this year.
Yes.
Yes.
For this fiscal year.
Yeah,
Just this year, and we'll go back and relook at it again. We do them all next year.
yep. All those in favor of that change?
Aye.
Aye. And no opposition, so, great. Well, thank you for,
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
okay. Sheriff Benard?
I can defer to Bill if you'd like, give him on his way.
Sure, that's not a.
That's really nice. I know.
Sure.
Sometimes you get an opportunity to represent somebody at just the right time and be able to provide good news and good information. And I think make a proposal that, to me, as an outsider, I can't see how it's not going to be something that should get a positive reception. So it's with pleasure that on behalf of John Gerlach, I submitted an offer for purchase of the old Watershed property that's in the town of Chittenden. The offer that was made is identical to what the appraisal was, despite the fact that I argued with my client that I thought the appraisal had some issues, and from my experience, that paying more than $800 an acre for this kind of property seemed to be a pretty high number. I said, the fact that you're not gonna have any real estate commission, you're not even deducting any amount for real estate commission. He said, I wanna make an offer that they can't refuse if they wanna sell the property. He said, I bought this other piece of property that adjoins it. He said, I would like to have this piece of property because it adjoins an existing piece of property that I own, and therefore it is of great interest. I have the ability to be able to write a check for it, pay for it. It's not subject to financing. It is simply an offer that if you find it acceptable, you have a need to get rid of and not pay taxes in another town for a piece of property that you're not using, and you could use $1.5 million as soon as you can satisfy the statutory requirements, which, as I read the statutory requirements, say that you could sign and execute the offer whenever you wanted. He did put it for a limited amount of time because he doesn't want to have it out there forever. He wants to give you some time to be able to look at it, but it has a deadline of November 15th. He would like to see what it is. Then you would begin to run through the process of indicating you would like to sell it for that. He would do his due diligence on boundary lines. He already has spoken to a surveyor. We would do all the title work. There's 30 days in which if anyone objects, they've got to have people to come in, and then you might have a town vote, but you might not. I represent lots of school districts that have sold buildings. We run through the same process all the time. When you have a board that wants to sell a piece of property, you believe the price you're getting is the fair market value, and in this case, I believe you're actually getting more than the fair market value that's out there. You can check it in any way you want. Because there is no real estate commission, because it's a cash deal, you could get this closed and completed before town meeting day. And it would, I think, provide a huge influx of cash that you could decide what was the right way that you would want to be able to handle this, and you would no longer have the liability expense connected with the watershed property. If there is something in the contract, we tried to make it what I call a bare bones kind of contract and offer to make it as simple and straightforward. If there is or are any issues that your lawyer raises, I am totally prepared to be able to try to resolve that so that we could get a signed agreement before the 15th of November. I'm here to answer any questions you might have, any issues that you might have, concerns. John extends his interest in this. He's sorry he can't be here, but he isn't here at the moment. I'm here to speak for him and see exactly what we can put together to try to see if this works. Sometimes, as I say, the stars get aligned. Your interest in selling the property, having somebody who just recently bought another piece of property that's adjacent to it, they're willing to pay a price that you probably would not get if you put it out on the market and tried to sell it. And how long it might take to sell a piece of property like this would be much longer. So I just throw it out to you and let you try to see if there are any questions or anything that I can answer to help with the offer. We got the offer in so that you would all be able to take a look at it, so I could be able to answer any questions that people might have.
I don't have any questions. I think we should probably talk in executive session about this at the end of the evening.
Stan, did you do a, because the only income we get from this is timber, right?
Yes,
And that was about $250,000 every 3 years?
yeah.
And that's the only value it brings to us?
That's the only asset we get out of it.
Right.
We pay
And we pay the
$4,000
taxes.
a year taxes
Okay.
to the tax, the current use. So it's,
And in terms of logging, I want to say some of the comparisons on other pieces of property, they were known sugar bushes that sold for $1,000 an acre, established known sugar bushes with high-quality trees. The more you log it, the less the value becomes for somebody who's looking at land like this. I apologize. So I think that the price is there. You wouldn't be able to get $250,000 every 3 years off the piece of property indefinitely. It certainly has its limitations. I've walked the property myself because I know the adjoining piece. I've hunted the property. I've walked in it. I know how tough and rugged it is. And I don't know how many of you folks have been there and how much and how difficult it is for logging and being able to get logs out. So you've got a forester I know who can give you whatever you need to have on that valuation, but I still believe that this is a real high value for this piece of property, regardless of its timber that might be on it.
Yeah, I think one of the things we would, it might be questioned down the road that, so we are waiting for that appraisal from Hutchinson's, Andy Hutchinson on that, and I think that probably is one of the things. I know Alan had a couple of questions on the contract, but I don't think we probably can give you an answer
No,
tonight,
I
but.
was not expecting
yeah.
that, and
Yeah.
I was expecting that if you gave instructions to your lawyer, we're quickly able to respond in a prompt fashion to be able to try to find out where we are so we could come up with a program and my client would know what he's gonna be doing, whether he goes one way or he goes another way.
Sure. No,
Again, my pleasure, and I look forward to whatever interaction we can put together to see if we can get this accomplished.
Thank you very much.
yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Can I ask a question of the board with respect to this proposal? Is this money only available to be used for water? if the property should be sold, the money would have to remain in an investment portfolio for water?
I don't believe that's been, we haven't really talked about that, so I don't.
Well, if the timber can only be used for water, if you sell Watershed property, are you saying the money could be invested and go into, for general fund expenses?
Well, I think that's a question for Alan.
Yes, I think we need to
So have
talk.
questions been proposed to Alan?
Not yet.
No,
I mean,
no.
this is the first we've been able to really talk about, except that we're
Yes,
interested in
so
selling.
we're in the very first time that we've had it before us, so we will be talking about it.
It was brought up at the last meeting, and the
Well.
number was given at the last meeting. My other question is, if it should sell for this, what would you do with the money? Would the money be put in a portfolio? And who would manage the portfolio?
Lisa, we
Because
haven't-
you-
We haven't discussed it between us.
Okay, so I'm
Them.
putting it out there as
Yes,
informed
fine.
questions for Alan, because if you currently pay $4,000 in taxes, you certainly will pay more than that in a management portfolio for 1.5 or even $1 million. So, listening to this proposal, questions I would like to have asked then of Alan, can the money be used to pay down the bond? Do taxpayers have the ability to vote about where this windfall should come? Or does that simply stay with the select board? If it is put in a portfolio, who oversees the portfolio? Are you hiring a management firm, and how are you assessing that? And I would hope that more conversation is held in open session, not just in executive session.
Thank you.
And I know at the last meeting that we had, that we talked about this, we did talk about the investment of it, investing it, because we were gonna do a comparison as far as if we invest it, will our returns be worth the $250,000 every 3 years that we get, you know, and how do you
So,
balance those values, so.
yeah, so
I know.
we've got a lot more to talk about, and we will be dealing with these questions
sure.
and concerns before we do it, I'm sure. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Sure, Steve. Welcome.
Good evening. I've got for Stan,
That's the one I could read.
the one you can read. I have to explain the beard. We usually don't wear beards, but we're doing a fundraiser for Camp Abatement.
Oh, yeah.
Camp up in Colchester with cancer. Last year, we raised $1,500. Our goal is much higher this year, so for 3 months, we grow beards and solicit donations from anybody. Happens to feel that way. I asked to come here tonight because I was asked a couple weeks ago about a couple of meetings, one that happened here, one that happened in Pittsburgh. And I was approached by a couple different people who said that the select board in Proctor and the citizens in Proctor weren't happy with the service they're getting. That led me to watch the meetings. And I guess the first comment I'd like to make is, I think at the first meeting I came to with this board, I gave everybody my business card with a cell phone number on the back, and I'll repeat the request. If you have any issue, call my cell phone 24/7, because I'm there. And I can answer the issue, or I can help with the issue. One issue was a welfare check. And if I had gotten that call, I may have been able to detail somebody off another detail to come and take care of that. Those things are important, and we understand that. One thing that I garnered out of the watching the PEGTV videos was there may be some confusion over the type of contract we have here. The contract for the town of Proctor and West Rutland is a combined patrol contract. So that means that each town pays essentially for a 40-hour-a-week position. But you effectively get 80 hours a week of coverage. You get 40 hours a week where there's a car actually in town. But during that other 40 hours, if the officer is working in West Rutland and there's a call in Proctor, he responds to it, to take care of it. We balance, it's hard to get exactly 40 hours a week in each town, so we balance those hours out. It's a continuing fluid process. We may have a 2-week period where the town of West Rutland is short 10 hours because of things going on here. Vice versa, we may have that in Proctor. But we balance that out over time by telling our guys, you need to go here, you need to go there. The other way to do the contract, and as I said at the last meeting I was at, we're a vendor of police services, you guys are the customers. If you want a contract that has specific times in it, then I can do that. I can give you one deputy for 40 hours a week. The downside of that is you get one deputy for 40 hours a week. You know, there's no hours on call where somebody can come over and take care of an issue for you. The other way we can do it if you want is we can do, you know, Stan mentioned that sometimes 6 to noon is a good time to run a patrol over here, sometimes 8 to 2 at night. If you want to get into those discussions, call me and we can make whatever you want happen. You're the customer. We can do that. I wrote down a few notes. And if you have any questions while I'm going through this, please, 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 feel free, jump up. So there was a schedule. There was a question about a restraining order that was served on North Street. When restraining orders come out, the restraining order gets shipped down to Westminster State Police. They're the holding station for the southern part of the state. And they also are the dispatching unit for the southern part of the state. So when they get a restraining order or a stalking order, something like that, they look and they see who's working in that area. If it's Fairhaven PD might be working, they might be off. Castleton might be on, they might Polteny, West Rutland, Proctor, every town, there's 15 or 16 towns in the county that they look at. If we've got somebody working in the town where that restraining order needs to be served, it's our responsibility to try to serve it. It's nothing that we can wait until tomorrow morning, because if we get notified that that restraining order is there at 10 o'clock at night and we go, you know, we're not even gonna try on that, and something happens at 2 in the morning, there's a lot of liability with that. You know, I wouldn't want it to happen to somebody that I know, you know, so we go out and take care of that. That night, Deputy Carter is the one that did that, and his patrol schedule was 2 in the afternoon until 2 in the morning. So he didn't get called out specifically to do that. It's not, and I'm going to step out on a limb here a little bit, it's not a piece of civil process that we get through the door that we get paid separately to take in, process, and serve. We don't do civil process service on town patrol time. It's just, that's double dipping, and it's just not ethically the right thing to do. So there was that question. There was a question with the school case, you know, with you know, who would have responded to that? Great question. Great question. And in the 15 years that I've been sheriff, I've gone to boards and I said, you know, if it's a perfect world, the state police would have enough funding and enough manpower to handle all of the calls for service in the state of Vermont. It's not a perfect world. They don't. That's where we come in. When towns aren't content with the quality or the quantity of service that they're getting from an agency, they historically come to us and say, can you augment that? And that's where that comes from. If you're right, if we weren't here, state police would have come, no doubt about it. We had 2 people here because I had one guy working in West Rutland trying to catch up some of the hours that we had been shorted the week before, and a fellow working here in Proctor. So we had, as you said, we had 2 cars here within 5 minutes. That's the best response time you're gonna get from anybody. You know, unless somebody's sitting on the front door. You know, so that's the explanation for that. The truck case, you know, that came down over the bridge and then the guys apparently turned it around and made it go back. The explanation that was given to me, I talked with one of the officers this morning about that, is what else? I mean, okay, write them the ticket or not write them the ticket. Like Mr. Hogan said, somebody was lost in town. You know, do you write that guy a ticket? That's an officer discretion. You have to kind of be there to make those decisions. There are times, both here and in Whippahala Road in West Rutland, where you pull down onto the road, you see the signs, and then what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to back out onto Route 3 or back out onto Route 4A in West Rutland? You know, I mean, I think it's reasonable to think that they may be looking for a place to turn around. I wasn't there. I don't know, you know, what was said and what was done, but I can tell you that my direction to these guys is if they get a tractor trailer, either here or over on Whippahala Road, that goes past the first place to turn around, they get a ticket. If they get one that hasn't gone past it and the guy goes, look, I'm looking for the shortest route to Amia, write him a ticket. If the guy goes, I don't know where I'm going, and yeah, I went by a couple of signs and I'm looking for a place to turn around, then it's up to the officer whether to write the ticket or not. But we're very proactive with that, and we write some good tickets on that. There was a question on one day where there were 3 sheriffs in town. We had an officer that had some difficulties, and he took, I believe it was 3.5 weeks off that's assigned to patrol over here. We have to fill that with somebody. You know, and I can tell you, we're short-staffed just like everybody else is short-staffed. So yes, we have a period of time where you saw a lot of names on the STARS report, no doubt about it. That is not the norm. You know, you've got Deputy Webster over here and Sergeant Carter over here. They're both full-time certified guys. They both know what they're doing. And I think that I'm happy with the job that they do, and I hope that you're happy with the job that they do. But that's kind of the explanation for that. The other one was the deputy that sits at LaFon's. And in the workup that I did, I checked all the way back to the 1st of September. We've been here 336 hours. And between her and one other deputy, they've spent about 6 hours at LaFon's. Not a lot of time. A lot of people see them there. So I get, you know, hey, it looks like they're there all the time. I get that. I've been working over here for 30 years, you know, so I understand that. One of the reasons, and I'm not going to try to guess whether they were doing proactive radar there, or one of the reasons that I used to sit there and some of the people sit there is everybody that comes into town on Route 3 has to come that way. So you're seeing everybody that comes into town. You know, and if you see somebody that you know, maybe wanted, they may, you know, it may be a vehicle that pulls up in the Chittenden Park area or out on Park Street at 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. You know, they may be somebody to keep an eye on. You know, so that's a little bit of what happens there. You know, I just need to reiterate, I'm not trying to run your time out, but I need to reiterate, you've got my cell phone number. Call me. Call me. I've come out at 1 o'clock in the morning because a lady's turkeys were getting killed by a dog, and she couldn't find anybody to do it, and I came out myself. You know, that's what we do. We're customer service. We're not a tax-based organization. We're a customer service organization, and if we don't keep the customer happy, then we're going to be out of business, and that's not what anybody wants. Questions from you guys? Comments?
Why don't your officers call a DOT officer to handle these trucks?
Why don't we call a DOT officer? Because,
They seem to be much more qualified in truck issues.
Here's what we do with them, and our process is pretty simple. We take, if they've got.
Why don't you call a DOT officer?
Why don't we call a DOT officer? Because there's a lot of times there's not a DOT officer around here.
Okay.
You know, and these people are here. You know, if we call a DOT guy and he's in Wilmington, you know, he's gonna be an hour and a half getting here. And we can't hold them on the side of the road for that long.
Well, we certainly wouldn't expect that.
Yeah. You know, so what we've done is we take the weight of the tractor, the weight of the trailer, add it together and write them a ticket for that. Write them an overroad, weight ticket and turn them around and get them going the right way. We had, I don't know if you've read the articles in the Herald about the bridge down in Pulley. You know, we've had the same questions down there, you know, why can't we get a DOT officer down there? And we talked to DOT about it, and they said, yeah, when there's a DOT guy working in the area, he can swing by there, but, you know, they're like state police, they're spread real thin.
Well, I think too, I mean, I think like with everybody relying on GPS nowadays, even though there's signs up and you're driving, you don't pay attention, like lots of times if I'm driving, I don't pay attention to signs, I'm listening or I'm looking at my directions or what I have, and you just kind of all of a sudden take that turn. So, I mean, I'm all for, you know, like if it's a repeat offender and some truck driver keeps going that way, then yeah.
Therein lies the problem, because what Anya does is they do all their loads through brokers. And they've sent letters out to brokers saying, hey, tell your people, stay down Route 7, don't come this way, don't come that way. But there's so many, we've been at this for, I don't know, 6 or 8 years now. We've never ticketed the same guy twice, because you get drivers from all over the country. One suggestion I might have is you may want to talk to Anya and have them put one of their company signs before you get to the intersection out here with an arrow that goes straight up, you know, it says use Route 7. Because even if you've got a GPS, you know, the trucks don't come through town all that fast, especially when they know a corner's coming up. And they should be able to see that before they make the corner. You know, so that might be an idea.
Sure.
I would respond to that one. We did that 5 years ago. We were told we had to take them down
By the
because it was
state?
advertising
Yeah.
Yeah,
by the state.
by the state.
To the truck issue, okay, I'm the one that brought it up. I guess my problem is this: we were told when the signs went out front that when trucks went by without a destination, they would be written a ticket. And part of that was that OMU goes through a brokerage firm for so many trucks. So once they start receiving tickets, those drivers are going to be acutely aware. I find it disappointing to hear that now we're making excuses. The signs are posted in those particular places. Those were places not requested, or they were requested to be moved to a different place by the property owner, and they were placed there for that particular reason. So to set in here that we make a determination, we give them a warning, we don't see the same driver twice. It seems to me that what our original objective is not being followed through, in my opinion. That was the essence for the signs.
I remember,
And they're going, and you're saying, well, by the time they make it to the Marble Museum and decide to turn around, we're not going to ticket to them because
I said that would end up,
you said if they came, your officer said if they came to the first place that they could turn around, and the officer determined that they didn't have a destination and weren't saying they were trying to find a shortcut. And then you followed up and said they were using a brokerage and you never saw the same driver twice. It seems to me the penalty needs to be put out there so the brokerage firms or whoever is brokering the truck feel the penalty. We have the sign litter out here, which appears for no reason.
when we first started this, we actually met with AMU, we had a group meeting with them. And, I mean, it seemed pretty simple to me. You get a hold of your broker and you put it out that this is the way you get there. But they use many brokerage firms around the country. And they've sent letters out. And it's, as you said, it's simply GPS. We get tractor trailers on Wildcat Road in Chittenden because they think they're going the right way. You know?
And that was the essence for the sign, but if we're not writing tickets, then I'm hard pressed to understand.
It's difficult for law enforcement to say in every single situation this will happen. It's difficult, because then you're taking away an officer's discretion And he's the one or she's the one that are dealing with these folks and getting their responses from them. They know what's going on. I can tell you that, and I'll do this when I get back. I'll check, because every car we stop, we have to give a piece of paper to. It's all race data collection and things like that. So I will check and see how many warnings versus tickets we've given in the last couple of years. It's a great point. It's a great point.
Just in case somebody has forgotten your cell phone number, could you?
342.
Yeah.
0019.
So I have a question because
Sure.
there's a couple things that I noticed that are addressed now that the board had asked to be addressed, and they weren't addressed until this all came down the line and you were questioned. And one of them was the Five Corners and the scheduling. And now it's addressed, but we asked more than one time and nothing changed until this point. So I'm asking, I guess, was that the motivation?
No.
Was
The direction on the Five Corners is going to be given to the deputies now, that every time you're there, other than driving through, put it down on your log. As you mentioned, you know, there's some deputies that don't do a really in-depth log, and then there's other deputies that write a novel. You know, we got to find a balance for that. And they're gonna, it's either that or we'll do a directed patrol for every time they're there. They have been there when the homicide happened in Rutland and ended up overflowing over to here. The deputy was there for like an hour and 10 minutes. And we verified that by pulling the video out of his cruiser, because the state police were looking for the bad guy's car to drive by. You know, so they haven't been noting. I'm not saying that they've been there, you know, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon every day, but they've been there at different times. So that's gonna start being noted on here, so that you can see it on the stars.
and we're not talking about a drive-through there.
No, not at that.
We're gonna drive through the Five Corners and
I'm with you.
that check off the
No,
box.
No, I'm with you.
And we're talking about something totally different, just
Yes.
like the presence in town the first day of school.
Yes.
I don't know
I
if
was
there's
there.
a miscommunication. You were at the school and somebody else was at the other school, but we were talking about being out in the public because of the traffic and the walking and all of the activity going on in town, not being at the school.
I was standing at the intersection up by the elementary school in uniform.
How did we know that, Steve? It wasn't in the report.
Right.
Your two deputies informed us of that weeks later. You know,
I don't-
communications.
Yeah.
Communications.
I can tell you, maybe this is something I gotta change, Tom. When I come out, I usually don't do a report, because I don't bill for the time. It's extra time the town gets.
Dan answers his phone all the time,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
communications.
Yep, so do I.
Sure.
So do I.
You know, and that,
As far as the schedule, this, you know, the contract in the cooperative patrol over here has been run the same way for a long, long time. And like I say, you guys are the customer. If you want us to say, hey, we're gonna be here, we're not here 5 days a week for 8 hours a day. We're here 7 days a week for 6 hours a day and 4 hours on Sunday. That equals 80 hours in 2 weeks. So we're here every day. If you would like us, and again, I need this from the board because this is new to me. If you want us to sit down with a representative of the board or Stan, we will figure out 6-hour shifts that we will be in town. We could do that. That's, like I say, you guys are the customers.
Well, basically, when you have like these reports that you generate and you see the activity that's going on in town, you pretty much use it as an assessment tool, don't you? And just say, these are the areas where we tend to pick up more speeders. This is So I personally, as a board member, don't want to be responsible for setting their schedule because that's their job. That's not my job, and I don't know how to do it.
Heck,
So.
I'm not saying that.
Well, we
But-
are, and we keep redirecting, like,
Yeah.
we want you there all the time, no, we don't really want you there, we want you here, and I just feel like sometimes they're just being, I don't know what more we want in terms of
Here's a
police
suggestion.
patrol.
Yeah.
Here's a suggestion. And we do this in other towns and found that it works pretty good. Board members, I've learned over the years that board members talk amongst themselves. You flesh out issues and, it's not in a meeting, but you may talk to Bruce and Bruce may talk to Ben, and that happens. My suggestion is appoint somebody from the board. And my preference would be one of you four, because Bruce has been around forever, So that two things will happen. You have communication with the two deputies that are working here all the time. Direct communication with them. And you be the conduit for concerns of the board to the deputy. It's difficult when we start getting calls from Selectman 1 that say, hey, I want enforcement done over here. Then Selectman 2 will call up and say, whoa, wait a minute. Well, that's not what the board wants. It's hard on us.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's not our role anyway.
No.
Right.
We're not.
No,
That's a suggestion. And the other suggestion that I would have for you is come out and ride with the guys. All you gotta do is call me up. I'll set a date and time that's convenient for you. Come see what they do. Get to know them a little bit. See what they do. Because there's a lot more that goes on, I found, than the general public really knows. It's a deep job.
any other questions for the sheriff?
No, this 2-week schedule looks ideal.
Yes, yeah,
We were, quite a few people rolling through here in the
Sure.
last month or so.
And that's, like I say, that's that's just a product of somebody taking time off, and we've gotta fill it with somebody. I can't let those hours go to waste.
I wish
Sure.
somebody had told us that,
Exactly.
yeah.
The communication is key.
And when we see a deputy sitting at LaFawn's for 2 hours and then go to the West Road and sit for 2 hours and no contact whatsoever with, the
I
citizens.
can tell you after, and like I say, I've done patrol forever and ever and ever, and you do get those times. You do get those times. And what works in those times is, the people that are there are driving by, they're seeing a cruiser.
Yeah,
I ran the report for state police and us from September 1st. There's been, I think the number was like 92 complaints over here in that time. 12 of which state police handled, but there is not serious crime going on over here overtly. The burglaries, the larcenies from the sheds
Yeah.
and things like that. And I equate that a lot to the cruiser being seen. Somebody's
Yeah.
out there, it's a marked cruiser, and you drive through here and you go, they're working in Proctor again. And if they're doing 2 hours in the morning and 3 hours in the afternoon and an hour and a half at the evening, people
Yeah.
here all the time.
yeah,
Works very well. This cooperative patrol contract is the best thing in the world, I think. Gives everybody some extra bang for their buck.
sure.
Anything
Wow.
else?
Thank you for
Yes, we appreciate you.
clearing up a couple of things, and I'm sure we'll,
Just a question for
Sure.
the board. The schedule is in your packet. My misunderstanding, I thought there was a schedule made up every 2 weeks. This is a rotating schedule that's always, which shows that for many days, it's 2 PM to 2 AM that they're here.
Yeah, there's some days in there.
The question is, whether, we got one day at 8 o'clock they show up, either here or West Rutland. Is there a need to have someone here earlier than 8 on any days?
8 a.m.?
8 AM.
High school starts at 7:45, that's the first
so,
bell. So they're getting here
And the kids are already at school by 8 a.m. Here.
So do you want to back it off and say, we'd like to see
6 to
2 days a
6,
week?
7 to
at-
7.
yeah.
6 to 6 or 7 to 7.
We can do that.
Yeah, rather than 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yes,
Be
I would
something to
rather
try.
that than 2 o'clock in the morning because it's fairly quiet. I mean, I used to get out at midnight. I've been walking in town and had a sheriff come in and ask me what I'm doing. I'm like, oh, I'm hiding a rock. I just got out of work. I'm hiding a rock. So I think by 2 o'clock, most everybody is. I mean, Franklin's is closed. Everything.
But again,
Yeah.
remember, what I can do, and again, if somebody wants to give me a call so that we can hash this out, so everybody's on the same page of music, is what I can do is I can issue an order, or issue a request that, the earlier day times be spent in Proctor primarily, and the later day times, night times be spent in West Rutland primarily.
Yeah,
You still get the benefit if something's going on, and you're still gonna get the benefit of somebody driving through.
Yeah.
That happens too. One of the guys the other day, just anecdotally, he just told me, was coming over just to go through town and caught somebody on West Proctor Road at 73 miles an hour.
yeah,
It happens a lot.
And there's, that's true, that's where officer discretion comes in. He could have arrested that person and brought him to jail. But there's no points on a ticket, or a couple points, but the fine's like $150. So he elected instead of giving him a criminal charge, he gave him a civil charge with a $480 fine, something like that. It was way high.
I know I had another question, because we also mentioned Pleasant Street, and the speed on Pleasant Street is extreme.
Okay.
I mean, something's going to happen.
Do you think it would help to bring the speed card up there?
Perhaps something for a little bit.
Sure.
I don't know if it's always,
We usually rotate that around at a week at a time.
and it's not really going down the hill. It's coming from Gorham Bridge, from the bypass, the underpass.
Yeah. Okay, we'll take care of that.
well, thank you so much.
Yes, and don't forget, give you my number. Feel free, I get calls all the time.
Yes, I have a question. When do they call you, or when do they call 911?
Call 911, if you get an emergency, call 911, period.
Because you,
Yeah. If you've got, if you've got, and we tell this to citizens too, if you've got a VIN verification that needs to be done,
Yeah,
call my office.
yeah,
Something that's not an emergency. But if you've got an emergency, somebody's outside your house being suspicious, you call 911. They get the call, we email them our schedule every day, so they know when we're working, and if it's a town that we've got contracts in 10 towns, if it's a town we're working in, they give the call to us.
the other question, you're a dispatcher at the office, or do you dispatch out of?
No, we dispatch out of my office generally from 6 in the morning until at least midnight, and then a couple, 3 nights a week we do it till 2 in the morning. It follows this schedule.
If follow that, if somebody's out there at 2 o'clock, your dispatcher's
Yes.
on duty?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. But again, if it's an emergency, call 911. Don't ever hesitate to do that.
well, thank you again.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right? Thank you.
Okay. Good stuff. I think we want to congratulate the girls soccer team, and the boys have got a real young team, and they're going to get there.
Yep, they had a good season.
Yes.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. But, and I think our highway department has been doing a great job around. We haven't had Stan hasn't had a lot of problems there, so John and the boys have been doing a nice job around town. You don't see them standing around
Yes.
much at all. They're always moving, and
So if I can put in a shameless plug, November 8th and 9th, the high school will be putting on Peter and Wendy, which is a non-musical version of Peter Pan. And we have, I think, 16 kids in the show. So our theater department is becoming bigger and bigger, which is amazing.
And I just wanted to point out that the Proctor float in the Halloween parade was
Oh.
fantastic. It should have definitely got first, in my opinion.
It was spectacular.
It
Yeah,
was a very good job.
Good night for it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, streetlight contractor, LaFaso, I'm impressed with the
Oh,
Yes.
speed, the cleanup, how things are getting
me
done.
too. I like it.
The fixtures are being shipped on October 31. And as soon as Brad said, as soon as they're sitting at his shop, they'll be on the post.
I don't doubt that at all.
yeah. That'll be great to see those up again.
Yes.
And we have steps.
Yes, yes, and the
TikTok.
steps are coming and the railings are coming, so
Uh-huh. I mean.
they
yeah.
may be a little late on the railings, but I think the steps are, and everything looks good, and soon as they get the flagpole off the patio up there and upright, I think maybe this is a good time that we expect that we'll be back at the office for our next meeting.
Here, here.
Yes. Not that the library hasn't been good to us and what have you, but it'll be good when we're really into the budget things and the computer will be there and what have you. So it'd be nice to go back home. Anything else for good stuff? Okay. Highway Department.
You've got the list of items we've done. A lot of it is beginning to do fall cleanup. One last time on roadside mowing, picking up leaves. They built a new leaf box because the old one didn't fit the new GMC, so we had to build a new one. But they're out there. Potholes, that's top on the list for the, as soon as the weather changes a little bit. Cleaning catch basins this time of year. Fortunately, we haven't had an October snowfall.
I know.
Yeah, he said it out loud. Thanks,
Yeah.
Dan.
And we did paint the bases of the bridge lights,
Yeah.
because the price I got for using someone with a lift truck was $5 grand plus. To paint the whole thing, so we just painted the big ones.
That's what you
That's gonna have to be done sometime, and I think
Yeah.
it'll go another few years before you have to think about it. Excuse me.
This spring, maybe we could do a little caulking, though, with someone on the
Yeah,
stone.
as I say, I asked Tedesco way back when.
And I see we got a couple of things that was brought to our attention on their risk assessment. They did some exit lights at the garage and some other little things there, and that was
Yeah, I
good to
did,
get
I
those.
did make a copy of that to stick in there,
Yeah.
but we did file a report with the league of things that we've done. The issues up at the pool will be addressed next spring when we start dealing with the pool.
And we took care of the Beaver Pond stairs.
Yes, those are gone.
Yeah, those were done. That was a joy.
Yes.
Um,
And the accident down on Route 3,
Yeah.
John was there about the same time the fire department showed up. And then he went and got his spill pads to soak up the gasoline.
I saw that
Oh, you
accident.
saw that?
Well, I didn't see it happen, but yeah, I was going to work.
What, Route 3?
I didn't know
Yes,
there was one on Route 3.
Delivery
Oh,
truck,
down
Friday
by,
morning?
box truck,
Yeah,
yeah.
That's
Friday
what I
morning.
did. Oh, really?
yeah,
It was on Facebook,
Friday morning.
the
Yeah.
fire department site, yeah.
so,
I didn't hear if he fell asleep or somebody ran out in front of him.
They think he fell asleep.
Yeah, I didn't hear you there.
I didn't see
We have
See
a
a
couple
brake
junior
mark.
firefighters that were.
Yeah. No,
So quick response for the fire department.
yes.
Kudos to them. They do a good job.
Yes.
So it's routine business. We still got a number of projects that we hope to get done this fall with heavy excavating, but we'll do the cleanup first. The projects will go from there.
Yeah, and that little spot on Holden is gonna be paved,
As soon as Wilk shows up
Stop,
to do
yeah.
the streetlight paving.
yeah.
And West Proctor Road, around that manhole, it's turning into like a sinkhole almost.
See, yeah, that's slipping out all the time. You have to
Yeah.
keep putting stuff into it. That's one we dug up a few years ago. And we didn't, I don't think we got it compacted in there well enough, and it's still settled down.
Okay, anything on that alternative grant? I see you have that on the,
Okay, I put that packet in for your alternatives. I didn't bother to put it back in
Yeah.
again.
right.
Whether you had any suggestions for projects. If not, I've got two. One is one that Tom asked for here last year, which is the sidewalk from Grove Street to the church.
Yeah.
So we got the one in front of the park. I would suggest that that would be one to put in. The other one is an imaginative project. The stairs from the town office to the elementary school are in deplorable shape. I don't know who owns those stairs. Nobody maintains those stairs, especially the lower set, the upper set from the parking lot up to High Street.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure about how you get from High Street to the school, but somebody tells me there's a set of stairs there.
There-
It
you
goes up
can't
to the
go.
wall, I think, and ends.
Yeah,
You can't use them?
No.
Not that set of
No.
stairs.
There used to be one on the other end, the,
You can use the stairs
north-
from near Franklin's
Yes,
up.
up there.
There's
Yeah.
a set of stairs
But
there.
they're kind of all grown in, isn't that
Yeah.
kind of?
Yeah.
I don't know, I take them, but
Do you?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's good
I saw little kids
exercise.
going up
there used to be
there
stairs
today.
everywhere in town.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, and then, of course, we eliminated the stairs from High Street to Pine Street.
Yeah.
And then from Cliff Street down
The Proctor Place.
Proctor Place, those are gone.
Yeah, I just got to thinking
Yeah.
that that would be an attractive project. The right-of-ways and the easements may be, and the town may end up with this thing if we sponsored it.
Yep.
What I would be doing would be looking for a scoping study.
Yep.
Not a design, construction, but is it a feasible project? And I think, it's in the village designated area, it is attractive, and this is an alternative grant rather than the normal one.
So I think those two projects,
Well, we
One
can
is-
submit on both of them.
yeah,
I gotta imagine Omea owns the stairs.
Or the new Vermont.
Or the new
Or the new
Vermont
Vermont Arbor
Marble,
Club, yeah,
that's
that's
right.
possible too.
And those are used frequently.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely.
Yeah, I don't, there is if you look at the tax maps, there's a strip that goes right through the parking lot, or along the path, that's delineated on the tax maps. I don't know who owns that strip. Whether whether Orbeus kept an easement when they sold the buildings, way back when, whether they turned over that easement. It may have been an easement there years ago, but, would the town be interested in owning the stairs up to the big building, up to the High Street?
In our town, walking's a big thing.
Yeah, it is.
Well, that would be the pitch that I'm giving it.
yeah.
Could we get some
Okay.
green credits for that, could we?
Green?
Well, we're walking instead of driving. so-
But
Oh.
it would be a scoping study to see whether you could, the cost to do it, what you would be needing to do. Two would be the right-of-way issue. And it
Yeah.
would all be sitting back on your table again a year from now or so, looking at it.
Good.
I just like the idea. The only reason I thought about it was Celia and I went up to visit the Marble Building again today for temporary during construction. And I said, "You want to walk up the stairs?" And she looked at me. No.
Oh, you didn't walk up the stairs? Oh,
I would have, but Celia
Yeah,
didn't, so
yeah.
she drove me up.
yeah,
But if, with your consent, I will have something on your desk 2 weeks from now. They have to be in on November 22nd,
yeah.
That's a good one.
so for approval of the grants.
That's a good idea.
Storm damage? Anything?
Only that the FEMA rep, if I was doing good stuff, he's being very good to us.
Yes,
We've got one taken care of, which is the pumping of the sewage from the Willow Street Pump Station for 11,000 something. That was in the mix already. The next one we're going is the cleanup around town.
yeah,
And he likes to do them one at a time. And then the next one will be William Street, and then or Olympus, and then the Olympus Culvert, which is a separate project.
sure.
So he comes down at least once a week just to button up the little pieces of it. And the nice thing about it is we provide the information and he fills in on the portal.
Ah,
So I
great.
give him the form all filled out, but he key punches it rather than me key punching it.
Yeah, well, great. Yes. And then we come to the traffic ordinance.
Okay, I was asked to put this up front.
Yeah,
What I put in your packet was the Vermont statutes, and reading it through, and I have not clarified this with Alan, but I think if, for safety concerns, you could spot sign. No parking. I think I told you before is you had to do the whole town if you were gonna do it. And the way I read this now, that I pulled it out, you could spot, so yes, because of the school and because of North Street, we could spot ordinance that, it'd have to be written into the ordinance, but we could do it. The question is, how many locations do we want to do? See, that's one, but
High Street,
High Street,
High Street.
yeah, so High Street, North Street,
around the school areas,
I think around the school
Yeah,
and then
area.
we
Not
get,
all
we
of
would
North
get,
Street.
yeah,
Not all
No.
of North Street, not all
No.
of High Street,
Yes.
just
Right,
there-
yeah.
that intersection.
And Kane, we
Okay.
talked about Kane.
well, Kane is a different animal.
yeah,
Right,
It's not a route to school type thing, but it's a congested thing.
right,
Yeah.
and the fire said it's.
Well, I think that's
hazardous.
safety. If a first responder can't get through,
Correct.
that's a safety issue.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking with Josh, he can't move a vehicle, he can't
Right.
push it over the bank, but he can break both windows and put a hose through it.
But if you can't get up the street to start with,
Yes.
what good is it gonna
And I
be?
think
I
that's.
mean, he has to
Main
call,
Street.
he has to
Right.
call, he has to
That's
call the
where that
sheriff's
was.
department to get it
Yeah,
moved.
yeah.
I think
So
it's the whole.
that's what I'm saying is,
Because
why
it's
can't
narrow
we lump
anyway.
this in the safety issue? Just like the
Okay.
school,
Yeah.
the issue is that if I live up at the top of Kane Street and I'm having a heart attack and the ambulance can't get through, that's a safety issue.
So we would be looking at posting all of Kane Street?
Yes.
Right from the,
I think, yeah, I think he was saying, and when Josh was here last time, like on one side, you know, that there shouldn't be any, you know,
well, I mean, what we're doing
or
is,
actually that, right around that corner there, definitely no parking. I mean, it's,
there'll
Rutland
be no parking,
City-
there'll be no parking on the travel way is what,
Yeah,
essentially
right.
what we're saying.
right.
Rutland City does that with some of their small one-way narrow
Yeah,
streets.
streets.
They do it on Park Street, they swap them. It confuses people, because they'll
Yeah.
say you can't park on the right-hand side between these hours, and the next day you can't park on this
Oh,
side.
it's not even
So
parking.
that they
alternate,
can
yeah,
clean.
Yeah, but that's in the parking places, that's not in the travel way,
Well, it's along the roadside.
It's on the road.
yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
off the so-called 22-foot.
Yeah,
The other issue that I read in here for the first time is special events. I mean, we talked about the ball games at the high school. I
Yes.
think what it's looking here is that we could post it, but at special events, they have to have a protocol that you could, you could write a contract with the school department for basketball games, but this is what you will do. And I don't know what you would do is, but that's something that, so that they are not violating the law during the
right.
basketball
during
game.
basketball.
so that you've got it covered in your ordinance. And I need some help with that one.
Yeah.
But if you would give me a list of streets that you feel that we should be citing, then I will go in and try to finish this up.
I mean,
I
definitely
mean, I've
High
been
Street,
dragging
definitely
it for
North
this
Street.
issue, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely High Street, definitely North Street,
Street.
definitely Kane Street.
School Street at the loading zone,
Yeah, probably.
School Street on all four corners.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe, and maybe Gibb Street, that north end of Gibb Street. Sometimes people will be parking
There,
up there,
up the road or?
yeah, a little ways. I've seen some parked there.
Well,
Yeah.
provide me with what you've got, and
Yeah.
otherwise I will be very aggressive in picking sites that you may not think should be on there.
Sure,
be great.
well, let's, yeah,
Easier to take them off than.
Yes, it is. Than to post to
yes.
make the
So,
ordinance.
yeah, I think that'll be on here again, and we'll get it done. Okay, motion to go into, if there's nothing else for highway, motion to go into the Board of Water Commissioners.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay.
Got nothing super to explain, except we have done the Holly, whatever testing, and we are well below the limits. So that one we could check off the list.
Yeah.
No worries.
That one came in.
So we've done the water fee abatement.
Okay, I gave you what I thought was a simplified form.
Yes, yes.
And I,
got a little
and
problem with
I
that.
reduced it down to one page so you couldn't read it.
But,
If you will note, there are a couple blanks in there.
yeah,
There's a couple who aren't meeting their agreements. And if we come down to number 18 line, we had a call from the bank today to find out what the payoff through November. So it's either
So they're gonna pay?
refinancing or doing something else.
Oh, because there's a lien on the property.
So that one is somewhere in the solving position.
So if current is neither yes or no,
Those are the blanks. They got one on 19, which is a foreclosure,
right?
so we are pushing that one.
About
Number 20?
Yeah.
20 is, didn't get shut off, but this is due for a tax sale.
Okay. So it's still shut off though?
It's not shut off, no.
No.
It didn't get shut off, but it is due for a tax sale. The reason was a vicious dog, I think. And I think we pushed the limits as far as shutting them off, probably trying it on a Thursday. And if when we didn't get it done, it was over with.
yeah.
27?
We have to stop at the end of this month, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
essentially, we are stopped because we're down below the list that we were looking at. 20,
But these people who have agreements who we are not fulfilling their agreement, we can shut off.
yeah, we can shut them off anytime, yeah. And that's November or whatever.
So,
Celia's done the research on that. She thought it had a November date on it.
oh, it's anytime, even if it's after November?
She thought it did, it
Okay.
doesn't.
So we'll get
We can
Anybody that's-
18,
continue.
43,
What's the 38?
38,
Yes.
that was a spring agreement that was not signed and was not on the fall shut off, and it kind of got lost in the shuffle. We can shut him off anytime because he had an agreement last spring.
let's do that.
And we had one owner, 27, who moved, and the disconnection notice got sent to the old address. So the house is empty right now. And we've caught up to him since then because we're also chasing for property taxes.
42, is that not current, or?
42, they are paid. That's a yes. Excuse me. That's one you could fill in a yes.
Okay.
I see you cleaned that one up for me today.
So we will be able to stay after some of these for a while.
Yeah, the ones that are on this list, we will keep at them.
Anybody on a plan, we can shut them off at any time.
Yeah.
And what about number 11, refresh my memory, why we can't?
That's my friend. That's the one that's on
Foghorn.
3 houses on the same curb stop.
Oh, right, okay.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's the one where I keep telling
Gormbridge.
people I'm gonna send her a letter, and I haven't sent her a letter yet. Or stop in and see her, and if she doesn't start paying, it'll be a tax sale.
Okay.
That's the only way we can collect that one.
I like this better, the way it is.
You like this better?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes,
Yeah.
thank you,
I
Steve.
like the descending order and the fact that there's agreements and it's a yes or no.
What it is Celia puts together the report, and then I cut it down to size.
I'd like to see anybody less than 1,000 not on here, and just to make it a little bigger and easier to follow.
Well, some of them that are on agreements were more than 1,000.
Right, I think it's okay.
Oh, and they're
And
coming
they're
down.
slowly
They're
paying it
them
off.
Okay.
Yeah, I cut the line on any new agreements below 1,000.
Okay.
But these are people who are paying on a regular basis and slowly cutting it
And
down.
I think we still need to keep looking at those.
Yep.
Till they finish.
Agree?
Nice.
That really?
Yeah,
Let's see.
45, $50 bi-monthly, that's $25 a month.
No, it's $50 twice a month.
Yeah.
We had this conversation.
Yeah.
We got 2
We
of them in there,
asked
they're twice a month.
Yeah.
I jumped on the same thing.
And we were like, what?
Okay, so it's $100 a month.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess that's better.
And we still got the one at 2 North Street.
Yeah. Whatever happened to that?
That's,
Kinda fell
again,
by the-
that was what I think I told you the last meeting, I was gonna write her a letter and say, you are not living up to your agreement.
Where is she?
Celia
That
thinks, because she does come in and pay her $50, she's living up to it, but she's not
Right
catching
here.
up. She's
Right,
not,
because she never came up with the big loans.
she never came up with
Yes.
the big
Big
one, so.
$50 a month, she won't even,
So I think the agreement was, you're going out and get big money.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, 'cause $50 a month isn't even keeping up, is it?
No, it's half of what.
No.
Yeah.
It's 126 approximately a month to pay, if you were to pay
Right.
this year's current, it would be
Yeah.
126 a month.
Okay. Alrighty, hey, it's working,
Yes.
a lot of work, but
We are collecting money.
Yes. It's good. Anything on contract 6?
The only new thing on contract 6 is the Vermont Bond Bank has talked to me and they're closing on the loan. So I'll have a bunch of paper for you to read and sign here, hopefully in a couple of weeks. It's interesting that I got an email from the Department of Environmental Conservation that the person we deal with there on loans had left.
Oh.
And then I got an email from the Vermont Bond Bank from her.
Oh,
So she's dealing with the same clients and the same projects,
Different departments.
not only with a different group.
Yeah.
So she wanted some more information, as usual, and we provided that.
Well, we covered our delinquent accounts. Anything else for water? If not, a motion to go into Board of Sewer Commissioners.
so moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I think the disturbing news here is, I think we mentioned on Simon's report, leaks or tears in the liner.
Yeah.
They're running the lagoons lower so that the water level is not up there. They got an estimate of $20,000 to repair the leaks. I will have a copy of their photographs and the quote.
that's the leaks above the water level.
Yeah.
This is above the water, tears in the liner above the water level.
Yeah.
And they came up with 20,000. They have contacted other treatment plants who have similar liners to see what they have done. The one in Walcott bought the materials and did it themselves. So these guys are looking to see whether it's something that they can do rather than hiring the firm to come in from Maine to do it. They're also looking for another company which does similar services to see if the prices are in the same ballpark. But that's,
Aren't we
yeah.
getting to the very, way past the end of the shelf life for,
The design life is 20 years, we've had them for 30.
yeah?
The rationale for not making a major project is sludge removal. When we do sludge removal, then we reline
Yeah.
and get it done.
And that's forecast for,
We don't have it's not under the immediate future. It may be in the immediate future if we have to reline. So, there's 150,000 that's tucked away in the water department, sewer department budget to do the sludge removal. How much of that will cost and how much the liner would cost, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I think we need to have an estimate so that we can start shooting for redoing it within the next few years.
is that considered hazardous waste?
Toxic waste?
Yeah.
No.
So can we kind of start to get an idea, so that, I mean, we're going into
Mm-hmm.
the budget right now. If we could reserve some funds
Yeah.
Absolutely.
to offset at least some of it.
Yeah.
I think we
that's
have to
something we should think
start.
about. Be proactive.
Yeah, at least put-
150 for sludge removals.
Yeah,
Right now, we don't carry a reserve fund for either water or sewer. It's carried in the general account,
count.
so that there is a balance. If I ran a balance on the water fund, it would show 200 and some $1,000 in it. If I were to show a balance on the sewer fund, it would show 150 some thousand. I mean, I say those numbers because I read them the other day.
Sure.
Yeah.
I just want to start
Yeah.
to get to know what we're gonna be looking at.
I think the idea,
Agreed.
what's the cost gonna be?
Yeah.
I
Yes.
think it's gonna get brought up at town meeting too. So we should
What?
know,
What this,
replacing them, because it's already been asked once
Yeah.
without an
One of
answer. Right, and so I think it's gonna be brought up again at town meeting, so we should probably have an answer to what the,
We can
Objective
run
is.
on one lagoon.
we would have to if we take it
Yeah.
down, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
so we'd have to do one and then
the other.
next
yeah.
year the other one, or,
Well, what the methodology of treatment would be, I'm not sure,
Yeah,
and what permits you might have to do to take it down, so
yes.
yeah.
let me get some answers on that, and see if we can develop a plan to replace the liner and pump out the sludge.
I mean, just as we go into budget, I'd like to have that in the back of our head.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a big expense.
agreed.
yeah.
Every year, we write 20,000 into the budget for reserve fund. I say
Yeah.
there's no such thing as a reserve fund, it's all in the account. And we
Yeah.
underrun, so the money stays in the account.
Yeah, we did sewer abatement also for Casella's delinquent accounts. Anything else for sewerage? Okay, let's return to regular select board stuff. Stan and I talked, rather than going through individual committee reports, does anyone have a report that they want to share? Okay, that cuts that.
Just about the, I'm just gonna do, if you're talking
Yeah.
like the skating rink, about
Sure.
open house, November 10th.
Oh,
Yes.
The chili mac and cheese contest as well.
really?
That's,
Wow.
that's what they're looking at, and also chili.
Right.
I got a second email from Megan later this afternoon, and I think I told you 2 weeks ago, that the counters were being put in.
Right.
I learned today, again, the counters are being put in. So whether they got it cleaned up, the floor is down, they got the mats down.
Yes, they had some more they had to get, so,
November
So-
10th,
yes,
what time?
As long as the counters are in, that was the only caveat that Megan told me.
right.
Because I sent an email to Megan as to,
Don't have the time.
please give me a write-up for
I don't have
publicity.
time.
Yeah.
And she
I'll
said,
get-
well, let's
Yeah,
get the counters
yeah.
in.
Yeah, that's great.
You all set with that?
I
Okay,
think so, yeah.
yep. Page 2 here. I think we've all taken care of the bills, so,
Except for me.
okay, the opiate litigation, and you have in their packet the information from Alan. And I guess we just sit and don't do a thing, and we'll be in, unless somebody has heard something different, or read something different out of that.
Yeah, that's not my understanding.
See, there was some email flurry between towns as to whether to opt in or opt out.
Right.
And Bennington opted out because they're hooked up with another lawsuit
Oh, okay,
on some other thing
right,
regarding this.
yeah.
So the advice that I think Alan says, if you want to go, you go alone or go with another different group, then you
Right.
can, but otherwise,
Because I think if you opt in, my understanding was you opt in, and then we get our legal counsel to basically represent us.
yeah.
But if we're not expending a lot of money on this in Proctor, then the returns may not get us anywhere, because first of all, we may not get anything.
Yeah,
And if we spend a lot in legal fees, is that worth, you know?
yeah, we only might get,
Right.
you know, like $5,000.
Right.
I mean, that's what he's saying is.
Yeah,
If the settlement is at $1 billion, we would get $4,900.
yeah.
Right.
If they get that much.
find
If
that
they
Yeah.
get the $1 billion.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so,
And do we spend that, you know,
Well,
Yeah.
Proctor on?
right, again, I'm assuming that we have no cost, that all of the cost will come out of the suit if they win the suit.
Okay,
Yeah.
so-
Oh, yeah, because they're gonna get a third of that money.
I don't know about you, but I was involved in one class action lawsuit, and I got the settlement report. The lawyers got paid. Nobody else got a nickel,
No, I know.
except the satisfaction of knowing you were on the winning side.
Yeah.
yeah, that's about it. Okay,
So I'm just gonna leave this sitting on the table. Whatever happens to it, happens to it.
Sounds good.
police services, I think we kind of pretty much covered that, unless there's something else somebody wants to.
The only thing would be if you want other times of what's on the sheet you got, I would be
Yeah,
happy to
I
do it.
think we,
So where does that leave us? Does that leave us not considering any other options and staying? Or does that leave us still considering other options?
Well,
yeah, I
thought you guys would still do research.
Yeah, I
With
think
the-
we need to make an informed decision.
Yeah. That's what I
Yeah,
think, right.
we were hoping you'd come back with, you know, a price, you know,
Yeah,
That's what I think we're working
That's what
towards.
we're working on.
compare and.
And
and,
as I said, I'm on the fence, I just want to have all the information so I know.
yeah, sure,
Well, exactly. I want to have all the information, and I'm not saying that either one is going to fix all the,
yeah,
I think you got the sheriff's attention to it.
yeah.
maybe a
And,
little bit.
Yeah,
Hopefully not when I'm driving home.
Yeah, you talked at the last meeting about a committee, 2 board members and 3 citizens.
Right.
That's something that
So
you
we
wanna-
have to kind of get it out there that we are looking for 3
3
citizens
citizens.
to join our committee to research
At-
options,
At least
policing
go through
options.
the details.
But
Yes.
again, it's just like the lagoons, let's find out what we're
yeah.
doing.
Okay, Chittenden Watershed. I think we've got to wait till we hear from Andy Hutchinson and some of the other
Questions.
things you know, we can't jump yet because we'd get all kinds of questions at town meeting, so let's do our due diligence on this and
Absolutely.
rather than just jump at this,
Yeah, I don't know if you picked up on Bill's 30-day,
yeah.
Yes.
that the statutes allow the select board to act without voter approval as long as they notify the voters, give them 30 days to submit a petition if they wish to submit a petition. So that's just to be sure that, and Alan agrees that that's the correct statute, and you can do it that way.
So my question is, they want an answer by November 15th, correct?
His offer was good till November 15th.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think we should be pushed into anything.
no.
But was she, I think what you're saying is the 30 days.
We don't have
Yes.
30 days.
You wouldn't
Well-
have 30 days
Unless
if
it's-
it's November 15th.
Well, no, what it would be is that you would accept his offer,
And
then
then
there
have
would
the
be
30
30
and
days.
then you have
Okay,
his 30
okay.
days
All right.
to go from there.
I'm like, wait a
Contingent
minute.
on, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, because we're not meeting till the 12th because of Veterans Day, so,
That's
So
right.
it's a Tuesday?
Tuesday, the 12th.
yeah, Tuesday is 12.
Oh my goodness, I
I
better
think,
look.
you know, Lisa brought up some questions the board is gonna have to deal with.
Absolutely.
If
Well,
they
yeah,
accept
we-
the
we-
deal.
Yeah,
We
so,
had already mentioned
Yeah,
several of those
Yes,
amongst
so-
ourselves here.
yeah, so,
But yep,
we're working on it.
12.
I'm gonna jump into anything.
No. Okay, rink managers' contracts, and we've got two of them in your packet.
Program manager and the ice manager.
Ice
Yeah.
program, the difference between this year's contracts and last year's contract is in the first paragraph. The town will contract for an ice manager to be responsible for making and maintaining the ice at the pool. However, the ice manager is gonna be directed by the pool manager.
Rink manager.
Rink manager.
Wait,
Rink
I don't
not
think we want ice in the
pool.
pool.
I'm like, I don't think so.
Excuse me.
Yeah,
Oh, 2 rinks.
so,
Program managers be responsible for the day-to-day operation of the Proctor skating rink and for scheduling and directing ice making and maintenance operations and methods during the skating season. And they will do a separate contract with the ice manager. And the purpose for this is to get them both on the town payroll so that they're part of workers' comp and anything else that may come up.
Yep.
The other change is on the fee. And the rink manager, I would put in at 6,000 and
Yeah, I
the
was
ice
gonna say.
manager at 4,000
Instead of 5 and 5 and 6.
instead of 5 and 5.
yeah,
But other than that, it's the same. Park and Recs has got a committee meeting coming up. But if you approve these, then we could get those into action.
These numbers add up to the 6.
oh,
One question where it says from time to time, the rink may be used for special occasions. It doesn't say anywhere in there if it's used for that special occasion. They give an example of church parties about providing insurance for filling out facility use agreement.
We've always had facility
the
use
use
agreements,
agreements.
unless
It
something,
doesn't say that on here, that's
no,
not
it
the
doesn't
way
say that
No.
in here, but, you know, if the Park and Rec Committee wants to sponsor an event, then that's what they have done, these activities this summer. They've sponsored it as a Park and Rec Committee.
I think this is talking outside of that when you read that paragraph. The bottom is, because Park and Rec isn't sponsoring Winter Carnival.
No,
You're asking for the insurance to make sure that's current from the school for Winter Carnival.
Lisa, can you just show me where that is on here? I'm having trouble finding it.
It's the paragraph right before it starts listing special activities on the first page.
On the first page. Okay, thank
from
you.
time to time.
From time to time, got it. I found it.
I guess that would be, if I was to insert something there, it would be with a facilities use agreement,
Yeah,
which requires the certificate of insurance.
Yeah, that was probably a good idea to put that in.
Yes. Also, if you're changing the totals, you'll have to change the
Yes.
payments.
I've got those.
Definitely,
I've
they're
got those
not.
crossed off
Yeah.
on
I'm
mine.
like, that doesn't add up.
But I will insert with a approved facilities use agreement into that section.
sure,
And it's on both contracts.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Motion to approve those with the changes.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, okay,
Thank you. Looking for a good year this year.
yes. So, we get back to the town office. Of course, the steps and the 2 levels have been completed and stamped, and they look great. I've walked on everything.
He's got his footprints and his initials down where you can't see it.
Yeah. So,
So
I think-
what are we waiting for to complete this?
just the railings.
Same
And,
as your
Flagpole, railings,
yes, right. Excuse me, I forgot the flagpole, yeah. So,
And that, you said they gave you an estimate of time?
Yeah, completion.
No,
they indicate that it'll all be in place by October 31st, except for the handrail.
yeah,
Now, if you wanted to call it substantial complete on August 31st, they would put in talking about a temporary handrail, which to me is a waste of time,
yes.
Right.
just
Yeah.
to meet some legal paperwork.
So
Yeah.
can we just hold off on giving them the final payment till the
Oh,
real
yeah.
railings
Well,
are put in?
Yeah.
The second payment's still in the vault.
Right,
And
okay.
nobody's asked for it.
All right,
And the final payment would normally be made at substantial completion.
right.
If they came in and put a temporary handrail in and said, you have beneficial use. That's the definition of substantial
I think-
Is there
completion.
a way we can make them have the railings in installed by November 12th, so when we have a meeting?
I would hope so. Otherwise, you won't be here and then you'll be madder than ever.
Okay.
Well, right, because I think it's gone on long enough.
Well, I think we can use the office without railings.
Yes,
Well, I
yeah,
know, but I'm just trying to put a deadline on this.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
all supposed to be done by
Well-
October 31st,
Exactly,
so.
all of it.
Let me pass that one along. that
Lying
We
there.
fully expect to have the handrails there by the
Right,
12th of November.
November.
It's okay. The area in front, are we gonna mulch it? Or what is the plan?
What I told John to do is to build it up, clean, seed it, mulch it, and put the fabric on it.
yeah,
The mesh, so that it'll hold it all in place
Erosion clock,
for the winter.
yeah,
And if and when it starts to sprout in the spring, just
Then
pull
we-
the mesh off of it.
yeah,
Because if you don't, then it starts growing up through it.
Right through it, yeah.
You have nothing but problems in trying to maintain it.
yeah. So,
But we're waiting to see when Wright is gone, and then we'll go back in and clean up what's left.
They'll never be done.
And the sewer line, you think that'll get done this year?
We're gonna look at it. I doubt if it's gonna get done this year. The big thing is making sure that in February, we're not out there digging and cleaning around, that we can get through it, so. And the point of clog, according to what John has told me, is out next to the curb and not under the wall.
yeah,
So that portion under the wall is that's serviceable. We dig just one spot if we have a problem.
Yep.
But right now, it flushes very nicely, so hopefully it'll continue. And probably, if everything goes right with the office renovations, we won't be there anyway.
Yep.
From January through to some date.
yeah.
Good.
Nothing really new on the renovations,
Other than the environmental review is
Right.
underway,
Yeah.
regional planning is doing their portion of it.
Was the architect gonna get back to us with a little price difference here, changing everything to the
Yes,
back?
Yeah.
when Bruce and I met with them and the electrical mechanical engineers are putting together a basis of design. They're not doing a design, but a basis. And then Ed was gonna get a proposal from an independent estimating company,
Yep.
Duke, one of the local contractors, to come in with a new estimate.
Okay.
Before we go to bid, because he feels that we should have a new estimate before we go to bid.
I think it's gonna change it, yeah.
yeah,
So, and how we deal with it. I mean,
Good, we're moving forward.
yes.
so it's getting closer.
Yeah,
We did meet with Keith Knapp at the Marble Building today to look at lease space up there and take it from that one. And, we were looking at the museum, but talking with people from the museum, there is, or maybe it was you, there's a leak in the roof of the museum in that little add-on.
Yes.
And discussing with Keith, today was the question of how long that building is gonna be there. Probably be there through the winter, but when Amtrak comes through, will it go through it? Yeah.
Amtrak's not happy with it.
They're not happy with it?
That 29A of the offices.
Yeah. So anyway, that's where we are headed right now.
Their space looked good for you?
Yeah, I mean, all we're using is there's about 7,000 square feet on each floor. And what we're using is probably about 1,500. There's more space than we need. What we talked about was how to divide the space up so that we would have our own unit. They do have a large room for a meeting room. So you can meet up there with no problem.
I think our meetings will get a little more attendance. People will want to see that
Want to see it.
building.
Yeah.
One thing that they have to do is they have to put a handicapped accessible bathroom on the main floor where we would be. I mean, Rhoda would be behind the desk as you walk in the door. Celia will be back in the back where she could keep her eye on the vault. And then I will be wherever I can find a spot. There's a couple other offices there.
Yeah.
And then there's a large meeting space.
Oh.
And we told the fire marshal is coming in on Wednesday to tell them what they have to do. And this is why they wanted to meet with us, saying this is what we're gonna do for the town. What is there anything special we need? The big concern they have in the ceilings, they took down all the asbestos on the ceiling tile, so you got a blank ceiling up there.
Oh.
And both Celia and I said, we don't look up that high.
No.
Well, that's kind of the new cool thing, the industrial look up there.
Yeah.
But they do need to do some overhead lighting. It was interesting, they know that they can't use the south end of the building because the stairs are too far away from the main entrance where the office space is. You have to be within so many feet of a stairway or an exit. So the south end of it, they can't use right now, so they're just gonna wall it off for this current one.
You would think an old historic building like that, they would give them a little slack.
Fire marshals don't care about that sort of stuff.
No.
Having dealt with one for 7 years.
So things are slowly moving ahead. The estimate is gonna be the big issue, is what the dollars are. Do we need to go out? And if we do, how much do we need to go after?
Okay, select board meeting, so we're tentatively planning on the 12th at the office and go from there.
Sounds good.
And you have that addition to your, what was on the table regarding the junk vehicles.
What I put in your packet was the ticket that was issued, and
Yeah.
the person came in and said, can I cover it up? But since this was last week, I figured I'd put it, what we have done before is if they put in one of the tarps that's made to cover a car, we've allowed it as calling that screening from public view. So that's, that would be the answer I would give her if you're consistent with that. I don't think throwing a blue tarp over the top of it is gonna be the screening. They can put a blue tarp in front of it, I suppose, but the big thing is that she said he's trying to get it fixed, so he can get it out of there. Go into the shop. So that's where that one's stashed. They did get a ticket, it's a $100 ticket, so that one's in there. The other one is a new request that came in,
Yeah.
and,
John Connell up on Terrace Hill.
Oh, that's not part of the same thing?
No.
that's a new request.
Okay.
And that was prompted the email from the
Ticket.
sheriff's department,
Department, yeah.
because I asked them to verify that it fell into the junk category. The person who wrote the letter indicated it was not registered, not inspected, along with a couple other things.
Yeah.
That prompted the email that you have in front of you regarding that they are doing a survey of the town for junk vehicles.
Yeah.
And so they will give you a list of what they consider junk vehicles, and they're up to 25 right now. So And this is so that they are not doing spot enforcement.
Yeah.
My discussion with them is that you're not doing enforcement, you're doing investigation, and the select board is doing the enforcing. But they feel that we're not giving them the whole thing, so I expect at the next meeting there will be a list that they will verify are uninspected, unregistered junk vehicles.
Yeah.
That's all right with me.
Yes.
So now that we have, like, this one brought to our attention, will they go there and,
They have not done it.
No.
I got this letter back, and I think the board could react on its own volition based on the, something that's in there, and rule it in violation of the ordinance.
Yeah.
Because you've got a written document in front of it,
Yep.
you. So we could send her a letter that,
okay,
send out a letter that's a violation.
I think we
You
should.
got 30
Yeah.
days, you got 30 days to move it.
Yep. And then that will kind of fall in line with the sheriff's thing, so. Motion to declare that one on Terrace Hill in violation.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We will get a letter out.
I guess my only question about the sheriff thing is how many hours are they allotting for, how many hours are they spending on this? Is it taking away from other hours that they,
Well, to me, though, it's
Yeah.
them driving around town, which is what we kind of asked them to do,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I think it's
Which
gonna
is fine.
cover,
It's fine.
yeah,
it's
whatever
gonna-
they
it's gonna
spend
be worth one stone.
is gotta be done.
Yeah.
So that we're not
Right,
singling out people.
right. Or if we get like a letter like this,
Yes.
then we respond to it.
Yeah. So, I think that's great that they're gonna do that. Keep us one less headache, or questioning, you're doing John's, but you're not doing Joe's, and,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
so,
that will come up here eventually.
yes.
yes.
So. Okay, our ground maintenance, Alan's comments, and when I stop and think, when you can't get a letter out to somebody for 2 or 3 days, by the time you issue something, he's got some valid,
He does.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
He
so,
does.
yeah, so,
But his suggestion at the top is to use the junk ordinance
yes,
instead, but that's a 30-day notice.
yeah, but,
Fine, all we really want is for them to pick up the junk.
yeah.
And frankly, I mean, that stuff by Newton Street was out for, I think, more than 30 days.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Somebody finally picked it up, but
And there's always something on the corner of North and Green Square.
She started,
Pile.
yes,
Yeah.
again,
yeah.
Is she back there again?
yes,
Yeah,
again.
and there's some more stuff down at Larry Lane along with
yes, there is.
the grill. There's some
Oh,
stuff
Yep.
on the ground, small stuff, so.
I think I have determined who the grill belongs to. One of the neighbors says, I think it is so-and-so. And I asked him, how come you're not using peer pressure to get rid of it?
Yeah.
And he says, I don't see it.
Say, I don't mind.
So we would be adding this to the junk vehicle.
I think we
The
would just
junk.
use the junk.
Junk,
We're gonna use the junk
The junk.
vehicle.
It's
The junk-
it's junk
junk
and junk
vehicle, yeah.
vehicle.
yeah.
so.
Yeah, I had it, yeah. Just wanna make sure.
Yes, anything else for the ground maintenance? I think we pretty well
Yeah.
covered that. So, purchasing policy?
What I put in your packet was the Vermont League of Cities and Towns Model Purchasing Policy with guidance. I'll tell you the truth, I have not read all of this. I think what we were talking about was changing values in the existing one, but when I saw this, I said, is there something in here that you may want to think about.
Yeah.
So I'll give you 2 weeks to think about it.
Perfect.
I was thinking that maybe some of those dollar amounts may need to be
Updated,
adjusted.
yes.
I think so
Yeah, they're
too.
low.
I think they're really
Yeah,
low.
that's what I mean.
Yeah, they are.
That's all I was gonna do until
Yeah,
I found this one.
yeah. So let's think on that some more but,
I'll have some suggestions for you.
yeah. Why don't we take up the Evelyn Peterson thing that you have on your table, the Edward Jones?
Okay.
And,
If you look down at the bottom, you'll see the maturity dates for the CDs. We have 3 of them that are maturing this month,
Wow.
and we need some direction as to how you would like to invest them. The
3 or 4 Stan?
four,
Four, I think.
4 of them,
1, 2, 3.
yeah,
2, 3, 4, yeah.
yeah,
The first 2 and the last 2.
yeah.
The
No,
last one is 20, isn't it?
the last one's
No, you're right,
20.
it's fine.
2020.
There's only 3, I think I
Yeah, it's 20.
Oh, that's right, that's the
Come out on
20th.
October,
Yeah,
not-
yeah, I was just looking at October too. Yeah, okay,
The second page is rates at a glance. At the top left-hand corner, it shows the length of time and the rates for it. The reason that we have so many renewing it this year is last year we rolled 2 of them into 1 year because we were advised that maybe better rates are coming. Don't lock it up for 5 years for 1.95 when
Yep.
next year there might be a better rate.
Yeah.
Celia's suggestion is that we just roll these for 1 year and look at them again next year.
Yeah.
Which means you'll have 4 of them coming due next year.
yeah, but, may get lucky and see the rates increase, hopefully, and,
Yeah, we took a loss on 3 of these.
Yes.
That's the way I'm reading it.
yeah.
That's what I'm reading.
I'm not impressed with other Jones. I'm glad I don't have my retirement with him.
CD's losing money. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know that was possible.
I didn't think so either. That was a guaranteed rate.
Yeah, 44.
I mean, it's only, it isn't much of a rate to begin with.
We're probably paying a fee.
Oh, yeah, we are.
Yeah,
1.7. 1.7, 1 dot. Well, that's- I wouldn't
Yeah,
have my
whatever.
retirement with them.
Boy, I,
They're both, they're
What would you
both losses
suggest,
at
Dan?
once.
You wanna look for a different broker?
Well, I don't know about that.
I mean, the thing is to roll them for a year and not tie it up and hope that it goes up.
Okay,
yeah,
I can go for that. But we
Yeah.
should look at this next year again.
yes,
one of these
yeah.
weeks.
Well, we'll have to if we're gonna roll these
Well,
3.
that's the one I have a problem with, the one that's almost $50. I mean, doesn't seem like a lot, but
These are CDs, and I
Yeah.
guess the question is what is their maintenance fee
it's not.
for them?
Yeah.
Year 2021.
Um,
Well, that's unrealized, okay.
yeah,
That's not the increase in value.
The, and looking at the account value over here on the left-hand side, 5 years ago, we had $48,000 in there. 1 month ago, we only have $40,000 in here. And then last year was worse.
There was some cash in it that got taken out.
no, yes,
I think that was last year. I think,
Yeah.
when I first got on the board.
The principal has remained the same,
Same.
but
I hope so.
cash has
Yeah.
been taken out. Right now, your cash is $800.
yeah.
I think that's what it says.
Yeah,
I mean, can we just ask the question? I've owned CDs my entire life. I've never lost money on them. I can't fathom this.
These must not be
That's the whole point of a CD is that.
That's CDs, yeah.
It does
And that's why
say-
you get a lower rate.
Right.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Because there's no risk.
Right.
And I guess maybe I said wrong when I said these are CDs. These
Well,
are,
it says-
these are investments, yeah,
Capital One Bank, USA CD.
yeah.
Yeah, they're all.
yeah.
They-
Yeah, the only one that doesn't is the first one there, Bank of India. I think he called me today.
It's the only one making us
The only one that's making money.
Is it? Oh,
Yeah.
Not making
sorry, I hung up on him.
He's making us money. Goldman Sachs.
Like, can we just find out what these are, if they are actually CDs, and if they're not, let's get,
Shall I invite him to come to a meeting between now and next year to explain it all?
It must, they all say certificate of deposit.
Yeah,
Too.
yeah, certificates of deposit.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'd like to, before next year, next meeting.
Because then you
Because we can just keep this as cash for a little bit before we
Yeah,
decide
we
what
can
to do with it.
roll it into cash and then put it back in again.
I think you're right. I think I
Yeah,
need
we-
more information.
We couldn't do any worse than a savings account.
Yeah.
And if the fee is what's factored in to make us, give us this loss, then they've gotta be pretty decent fees.
It would have been better under my mattress. I mean, if you're not making interest. So yeah, if you could ask our broker.
Sure.
Edward
Carol.
Jones out on North Street, or on North Main Street.
Street, yeah,
That's doing it.
yeah. Yeah, if you want to ask him to,
Yep.
maybe he could come in on the 12th.
And just
$250,000.
leave it in cash. It doesn't hurt to
Yeah.
leave it in cash for a month.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not gonna hurt.
no,
No.
May help.
We won't be losing money.
Yeah.
If you're in higher interest rate.
okay, well, why don't we, want to jump down to this budget report that was in your packet? Any
2021 budget, I'm not ready to present anything
Yeah.
tonight. I just got the detailed information from Josh for the fire department, and that was the one that would take some time.
Yep.
The only other thing that I had suggested to Bruce as to whether you want to do it as one big bite the second week in November and have the whole thing in front of you, or whether you want to see the pieces as they come up and get them done.
You did by piece last year, didn't you?
Yeah,
I personally would like to see the whole picture. I don't know how you guys.
well,
At the same time, I'll go with whatever.
I don't know, I think I'd like to see it in pieces and at a separate meeting rather than try to drag these out. You know,
I'd like to
be
see a
fresh
separate
at
meeting.
6 o'clock and rather than try to do it at, 8 or 8:30 at night. I don't think we're,
So,
They will have, sorry.
go ahead. We're probably gonna ask the same question. So if we're gonna talk about doing it as a meeting, how many meetings are we talking about? Is that your question, Judy?
No, I was just gonna say, can we have the whole thing ahead of time so we can at least digest
Right.
it? So when we get to the first meeting, if we're going through, say, 3 departments,
Yeah,
we can kind of go.
But you've got it all before
Right,
you
yeah.
start.
oh, yeah, we get it ahead of time but
Or rather-
try to,
But not feed it in pieces, feed it as the whole thing.
As the
and
whole
then-
thing, yeah.
And then consider it in
Consider
pieces.
it, yeah.
Yes.
yeah, okay.
Whole
But
thing,
not like
consider it in pieces.
A meeting for every department.
Yes.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
no.
No, I think if we're fresh and we start at even 5:30 or 6, I think we'll be able to knock it out in a couple of meetings. I don't think it's gonna take that long.
No, I
No,
don't think so.
As long as somebody just doesn't turn to the bottom line and say, 8%, no, it's gonna be 5, now you go find where to cut it. That's when I'll come back to you and say, you tell me where you would like to cut it.
yeah. So,
Okay.
they want to wait and
So
set
when will we
a,
get the budget, when will we get the,
Well, see, what I'm waiting for now is insurance, park and rec. I was asking for solid waste as to what the increases are gonna be from the district, and I think the answer to that is there will be no increase next year. That's, I don't know whether the answer, but those are the ones that make a difference, and whether Casella is gonna be charging another, they've been adding 3% every year onto their tote charge.
yeah,
And then the tonnage charge is whatever the district is
District.
gonna be supplying.
yeah.
And is it gonna be more than $111 a ton next year?
yeah.
And so I got a request in the gym saying, what's it gonna be?
Well, it's no longer Jim. It's Mark Shea, and I can get you that information.
You can?
Yes, I can.
Okay, that would be very happy.
I will get you his email, and I will give you the information that I may have.
What is it gonna be July 1 of next year, and will that hold for
Okay.
the whole year?
All right, I can't remember where we're at with that.
And we're waiting for the sheriff's department's estimate of what his charges increase may or may not be.
So what are we looking at for a date about getting a,
1st of December.
wow,
It's cutting it short.
it's late,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, but we can do some of these others,
Yes.
No, but you want to
I'm
have, to
talking
see
about
the
the
whole,
whole
to see the
budget.
whole budget.
You
But-
can't really cut without,
Yeah, that's
Seeing
why,
the whole
that's why I
budget.
said, we really need to see the whole thing before we can decide.
But I'd like to see what you have.
Yeah.
now.
yeah,
What,
So I'll keep sending it out.
good.
yeah, and then we
Let
can,
me digest it a little slower.
yeah. Yeah, I think we need to look at what you've got and what you come up with now, between now and the 12th, and then maybe we can set a meeting and do that much, and then we can look again,
How about the fourth Thursday of October, or November?
sure, Thanksgiving.
Probably not.
It's late this year.
Yeah, so,
I will work toward that end of
okay.
yeah,
Thank you.
getting as many pieces done and come up
Thank
with a
you.
total.
yeah,
Thanks, Steve.
Right.
And then, you know, as in past years, we can guesstimate some of the charges that
Oh, yeah.
are gonna be late and final figures.
yeah. Okay. Any questions on this budget stuff?
Nothing was concerning.
You know, there's a couple of big red numbers, but, you know, we had delinquent tax advertising, that went up because we hadn't done that before.
So they're not very
And
big.
the
Town office
renovations, we've had to have some extra, Stuff
That
done.
money is not budgeted, that would come out of your bond issue, but
Yeah.
I needed a place to put it.
but,
spend it, yeah.
yeah,
I wanted to see
exactly.
what it was adding up to.
Yeah. And it's good to know, but those, I think, were basically, the salt shed maintenance, was some of that maybe taking the old building?
Yeah, that was removing the old building.
Yeah, yeah. So I think we're in great shape. You know, the bottom numbers aren't that far, and we've only got 2 more months to go, so,
Huh? 2 more months to go.
well, I mean, till the end of December,
Oh,
yeah.
well, that's half a year.
Yeah, yeah,
That's when I make my glorious
Oh.
projection as to what it's gonna look like June 30.
so,
We all wait on pins and needles, it's like Groundhog's Day.
yeah. Um,
If you notice the bond payments under the water department, which are a sizely amount, we got the new one coming, which is the
Yeah.
one she's writing, but they are changing the whole program. So we will no longer have negative interest. Because nobody understands negative interest.
No.
You notice the water department, under interest, it's a negative.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the way the program is run, but they are going to do away with negative interest. And what they're gonna do is give us loan forgiveness. It would match what the negative interest would be over a 40-year period. So that all we'll be paying is principal with no interest.
Great.
Yeah,
It makes the bookkeeping better. So whoever, that's what I was talking with Ashley, who switched over to the bond bank. She said, nobody who was working with these liked the idea of negative interest. People who were promoting it were liking the idea that you weren't giving a grant, you were giving a loan at negative interest, which essentially is a grant.
yeah. where do we want to move, and move forward on the manager search? We gotta start.
I did reach out to the league and ask them for like, backup, like information on job descriptions, you know,
Yeah.
templates, what they're, willing to do in terms of advertising, and also basically, bringing it down to, you know, the selection committee and helping field applicants so that it ends up on our plates with just, you know, maybe 5 applicants. So we're not involved interviewing everybody
Yeah,
for 10 nights. So, so I'm waiting for her to get back to me.
yeah,
Yeah,
so,
they bounced me around, different people, but then she did finally connect, so I kind of gave her a list of what we talked about last time. Job description, advertising, New England search, having the league involved, scope of the involvement in their, in hiring from them, and then building a committee. So,
sure, well,
once I get that, I can just share it with everybody, I guess, in an email.
yeah,
We can just go from there then.
Right,
Excuse me.
sure,
I'd like to hear about their costs too.
yeah.
Well, see, we carried in this year's budget $2,000 for league assistants.
Right,
Yes, but we weren't gonna depend on
You weren't
them
gonna use them for very
completely,
much.
too
right.
heavily, yes.
You also put in this year's budget 7,000 for overlap. So you got, you got 9,000 in the kitty,
yeah,
but the question is, how much overlap do you want?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or whether you wanna do it this year or next year.
Do it once.
Right.
You can put the 7,000 into the 21 budget and use the 7,000 to do other services if you wanted to.
so,
I'll see what the cost is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's find out what the cost is, so we can, again, make an informed decision.
Ballpark, you know, something.
Yes, yeah.
They got an idea.
sure. Okay, anything else we want to cover tonight? That you can,
Did you want to go into executive session to talk about the watershed, or wait till we get more
I
information?
thought we were gonna wait until we got, heard
Yeah,
from
I
him.
think that's,
Get the forester's report.
yeah,
I think so.
And so all those questions too that were raised tonight though about that, can we put those out to him too, so we can get that together, so we'll have more to base our,
What can we use the
Decision
money
on?
for?
Oh, yeah,
Right.
yes. Yeah. I've got,
And where will it be
I've got some
invested?
ideas, but I would like to
right, and where it would be
put
invested,
it
things like
into
that.
executive session rather than.
yeah,
Right,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
if we don't
Because then
understand
somebody
it
would
now, then.
think it is, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I think the only thing we have to do in executive session is if we want to have a conversation of whether we do or don't want to buy it.
Right,
I think everything else should be done, you
Been
know.
open?
Yeah.
Okay, well then,
I think so too.
so my suggestions on how to manage it, I've got some ideas, but I haven't got it firmed up.
right,
And we don't need to tonight, but, yeah, the only real thing I want to keep between us is just what direction we're heading, so that we don't tip our hand.
The one is whether you want to sell it, two is what you do with the money.
Right.
Yeah,
and once we have the answers about where we can use it, or are we restricted?
You know, as I say, I need to get another opinion. I have my own opinion, and I think I've expressed it before, is this water department money, because
Right.
that's where it's always gone.
and
But
get
is-
in and
And who has
use
to
it.
make the decision?
Yeah.
If you were to set up a fund, quote, fund, like the streetlight fund and like the whatever else, highway equipment fund, then you need the voters to approve the establishment of the fund.
Yeah.
And that may
Okay,
be,
yeah.
and that would separate it out from the general revenue fund.
Would the voters have to do that, though, if it was basically said that if we sell this property and the funds go directly into the water fund still? They wouldn't have to revote that, right? Because it already
No, I
exists.
wouldn't think so,
Yeah, the property belongs to the town.
Right.
yeah,
It doesn't belong to the water department, it's just.
Right.
that's
Yeah.
That's the way
where
it
it's-
was
It's
set up
just,
for the
yeah.
funding. Okay,
And I think, the point is, you've got bonded indebtedness is to take care of
right,
our bond expenses as a designated purpose. So I think that's one thing that you need to deal with. And then put it before the voters that, yes, we accepted the offer, nobody complained, we took the $1.5 million. This is what we're proposing to do with it, and then let them vote on it.
okay.
Maybe even put it in both the water and the sewer thing.
That would be nice, yes.
Yeah.
Used either or.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah,
We do
Because,
have a
you know.
coming up.
And we do have bonds to pay.
We do have one today. So let's get those answers and then we'll
yeah,
move to adjourn.
yes,
Second that.
yes.
If people are interested in signing, the sheriff brought over a copy of the contract that you could read.
Nice.
Okay,
Like you said,
That's the
siding.
one you approved back in June, and we never got it signed because we never got a clean copy.
Okay.
so this is the one that we're running on,
That's your current contract.
yeah, yeah. So, you want signatures on this?
Well, yes,
Yeah.
I would like to have a signed contract.
Yeah,
When I pay bills, it would be nice to have a signed contract.
yes. So,
So when you finish that, can you send me a cleaner copy, Ben and I, a cleaner copy of that contract?
Yes.
That
yeah,
would be great.
yeah.
I'm like,
So can we vote on adjourning so PEGTV can?
Yes,
that we-
motion to adjourn,
So moved.
second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.